Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On The Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Warduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is the journalist?
She's the enthusiast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so enthusiastic because it's Wimbledon and Venus is still in it. We got two Americans in it,
yeah,
so I'm excited.
It's awesome
to see. Well, three actually, because there's one on the men's side too.
Yes, exactly. We got Sam Querrey on the men's side, we got Coco Vandeweghe and Venus Williams. So we are still pretty well represented as far as the Americans go when it comes to Wimbledon. And that's what we're going to talk about today is Wimbledon and where we're at right now. We're going to give you an update. It's the 2017 Wimbledon tournament. It's basically the creme de la creme, if you will, when it comes to tennis and the tennis world. It's the premier tournament, and it's played in London, and it's huge. Everyone from all over the world tunes in. They go, and they're sitting on Henman Hill to watch. And it's really been an interesting tournament because there are some, well, at least on the women's side, the main draw is Serena Williams, but she's not participating in this year's tournament because she's
having a baby.
She's pregnant. She's with child right now, and so therefore it's okay for her to sit down because her sister, her older sister Venus, is really doing a great job.
Well, let's just say her big sister. We don't need to call Venus the older sister, the big sister.
Well, she is the older sister. I mean, she was on the scene first, and she's, you know, hey, I'm just calling it what it is.
Well,
you know,
the cool thing is that the odds are only like 5 to 1. There isn't a favorite now. Everyone's playing so well. Some of the favorites went out. Venus is 10th, you know, came in ranked 10th, and she's playing great. So nobody knows who's actually going to win. So it's kind of just open on that side.
Well, I'm going for Venus. I know she's going to win. She's got a lot of stuff on her mind with all the stuff that happened in Florida in June, and so she's really taking care of business right now on the tennis court.
Well, give an update to that. The police originally found, just in their initial investigation, that Venus was at fault, even though there was no criminal issues. Well, they've gone back and reviewed the cameras on the scene, and now have come back and said Venus is not at fault. She's been cleared completely. It was just a random accident. The people ran into her, and unfortunately someone lost their life, but Venus was not at fault at all. So now she can just focus on killing it.
Well, let's give an update with where everyone's at right now. We are pretty close to the end of the tournament right now, but you have to forgive us for messing up some of these names because these people from other countries, and we just don't see them all the time.
No.
So for the match that's taking place right now, we've got Venus Williams, and we've got Janela Ostapenko.
I think it's Elena.
Is it Elena?
It's with the J, but it's Helena.
Helena? Okay,
Helena Ostapenko, but she's from Latvia, so
Latvia. Sorry, again, you know, I'm not from these countries, so I'm very rusty with how these pronunciations go. And then we've got Gabarina Muguruza. I'm not even sure how to say some of these names.
So cute right now. I think it's Garbina Muguruza.
Okay, I was somewhat close.
And I only know she's from Spain, and then she's playing Svetlana Kozakova.
Exactly. Whatever was just said there. So there's some decent tennis players on the women's side that are still giving it a go. You know, we don't have any of the Lindsay Davenports or some of the other women that were really big back in the 90s and early 2000s. But as long as Venus and Serena are in, that's really all that matters.
Well, let's round out this quarterfinals. I call them the Elite Eight, but it's the last 8 women in. They're in the quarterfinals, and they win. They go semis, the finals. So then you got Magdalena. I can't say her name, but it's Rabnik. Krova, she's from Latvia, versus our girl Coco Colleen Vandeweghe from the USA.
Yes.
And then the UK has their girl Joanna Konta, who is the first woman from Britain from the UK in 33 years to get this far in the quarters, and she'll play Simona Halep from Romania. So that's the draw for the women. Like you just said, Venus is up right now. She and Ostapenko are playing right now.
Yeah.
And Ostapenko, by the way, won her first ever. She won the French Open on that clay. She's only 20 years old. So she might have to get an education on what it's like to play on that grass.
Exactly. Well, again, you know, there's no Maria Sharapova. You know, there's some of these other girls, you know, Martina Hingis. You know, there aren't any of these, like, other main stars. So this would be a really good tournament for Venus to go ahead and close it out. This would be a great way for her to kind of move on past all the stuff that has happened.
Well, you know what's cool? She and Coco are on other sides of the draw. We could have an all-USA
I would love to see that. That would be great. USA represented very well in Wimbledon this year, especially on the women's side.
Well, who's on the men?
Yeah, as we transition to the men's, We had a big upset yesterday. Rafael Nadal went down in the 5th set. I believe it was 17-15 as the games, as the final games ended up, 17-15. You have to win by 2. Right. And Wimbledon, they do not do a tiebreak, which is what is a little surprising as far as after so long you would think that they would figure out a way to do it. But when you look at what happened with Isner a couple years ago, he's got the longest, he was a part of the longest men's tennis match, went for like 3 days. And so they don't do tie breaks in Wimbledon, but in other tournaments they do. The US Open, they have tie breaks, and I think the Aussie Open, they have something else like that too. So that match went on for 5 hours yesterday.
Crazy.
But Rafa, who was the guy that I kind of thought was going to at least make it to the final,
he was playing well, so
came up against Giles Mueller from I believe it's Luxembourg, who really just he lives on grass.
He was 10-1 yesterday on grass,
and so
now he's 11-1. He's hard to beat on grass.
Exactly.
And he doesn't play the bigs really. He just he goes around the world playing on small tournaments on grass.
And so he understands how it goes. But Rafa gave it all he had. So out of the big 4 on the men's side with Rafa, Djokovic, Federer, and Murray, Rafa's the first one done. But speaking of Murray, we got Andy Murray playing a awesome U.S. American, Sam Querrey.
Sam Querrey is 6'6", originally from San Francisco. Now he lives in Vegas. I think Sam, I mean, he's going to have his hands full, but you got 2 tall, skinny beanpole guys going at it. It should be a pretty evenly matched match. Yeah,
it will be a very good one to be tuned into. This is now the rounds that you want to be really watching and paying attention, because this is really where the best of the best are going at it. In tennis, it's a team sport when you talk about doubles, but when you're talking about just singles, these people are locked in and focused, and that ball is coming off the racket so fast. It's amazing. You really appreciate when you get to these rounds how good these people are.
Well, and especially like what you said about Rafa, you know, 3-4 hour matches. These guys are, I mean, hello. Well, who else is in the quarters?
So Roger Federer and Milos Raonic from Canada.
Milos Raonic.
He is one of those guys that has a really big serve and has made it to the finals. He's kind of been on the scene the last couple years as one of the bigger names coming from Canada, and that will be another really good match. You know, Roger Federer has won Wimbledon a lot of times.
8 times.
He's getting close to retirement even, so I wouldn't mind watching Roger get one more and let him, you know, kind of go out on his own terms.
Sorry, I don't mean to step over you. That one could be a gotcha, because Milos got some people last year. So
he did.
It's Canada versus Switzerland. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would love to see Roger take that one. And then, as we talked about with Giles Mueller taking on Marin, how do you say his name?
I think it's Cilic.
Cilic or Cilic.
From Croatia.
From Croatia. Again, these names are difficult to pronounce, you know, and I just am giving my best shot. Honestly, whoever comes out of that one, congratulations.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay.
That's great.
Like, I just don't care.
What happens in that one, but we'll still obviously stay tuned, and maybe Mueller will get it since he beat Nadal. And then we do have Novak Djokovic, who played this morning because the Nadal match went so long. The Nadal and Mueller match went so long that they had to move it to this morning because today was actually the men's day off for the most part. And so they had to play right away in the morning, and that game, or that match, I should say, went to Djokovic. And that was Thomas Biedrich, and then obviously Novak Djokovic.
And he's from the Czech Republic, which I think is interesting because your brother's little best friend is from the Czech Republic. They're there right now. But yeah, you know, it's really cool. You know that Djokovic has made over $100 million playing tennis. He's won all 4 Grand Slams. I mean, just little fun facts. These guys aren't poor. And like I said the other day, he's being coached by Andre Agassi. It's really cool to watch Agassi in that box. Like, he's giving him his swag back. Djokovic is hollering and, you know, doing the rack again. I think he's back. My money's on Djokovic.
I like Djokovic. I didn't like him initially because he was just dominating people in a fashion that was like, whoa, we haven't seen this in quite some time. But, you know, he's got a wife and kid now, and he's kind of slowed down a little bit, and there's a humanness to him that I like a little bit more. And like you said, Andre Agassi, one of my favorite tennis players of all time. So it's good to have that connection. So I guess I'll be rooting for him as well.
Absolutely. So. And you know what? I will say this. You've got a couple of Americans playing and you got some Brits playing. I like Andy Murray, but I would really like Sam Querrey to get him. I'm just going to be honest.
It's very possible. Again, you know, we're talking about Milos Raonic maybe having a gotcha with Federer. That's definitely a gotcha right there with Sam Querrey. And so, and it's really not even a gotcha because both of those guys are real contenders. They're not sleeper people. They're guys that have been on the circuit for a while and have real quality wins on them.
You know what? If Nadal had won yesterday, the big four would all be playing in the quarters.
Exactly.
You know, you'd have Murray, Federer.
And you know somebody's going to go down. So it's just one of those things.
At some point somebody's got to go down.
And Nadal gave it all he had. Well, we're excited because we love this part of the summer because football season is right after this.
We're right here, man.
And we've got more updates with Wimbledon as we're getting closer to the actual finals for the men's and women's side, and we're going to be watching very closely. So we want to say we appreciate your time, folks. See you again.